ENT, it's your boy Chad and I'm chilling here right now with my main man, the myth, the legend. Some call him filmmaking Treasy, others call him Mr. AKA I Can Make You a Star, Tremaine Johnson.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing very good. How you doing today, bro?
Brother, I appreciate you having me, man.
You know, I had to bring you on here, you know what I'm saying? We talk a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's not true what he said. I'm not the man, the myth, or the legend.
He's all of that. He's all of that in one. Now, me and you, obviously, we go way back to our days back at 757 Bethel High School and everything else. You know what I'm saying? 10 years deep into our friendship, maybe a little bit more than that. But over the years, you've developed into some other things here. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, filmmaking.
Right.
You know, filmmaking. Been blessed to kind of do some of the things you used to dream about when you were younger.
Right.
You know, and taking images and people and marketing ideas and just bringing it all together.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing. And so right now you are a producer, director, co-owner, Visually Inclined. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, Visually Inclined. A company that was just birthed out of experience.
Uh-huh.
You know, the passion for filmmaking. We just constantly, we just visually inclined. I mean, it speaks for itself.
Right,
Music videos, commercials, short films, feature-length films, documentaries, things of that nature. So,
You do what you're doing. You make magic on the screen.
yeah, something like that. I try to.
Now, you're being a little modest, a little humble here. You have worked with some really huge names in the game right here. I mean, we ain't talking about just cats around the neighborhood, though you'll do their work as well. But tell us a little bit more. I know you've worked with Q-Tip, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Kwame, a little bit with Allen Iverson, 757 Represent. Who else have you worked with?
Skills, man, another hometown hero, 804. We was all 804 at one point. Like you said, Q-Tip, Jazzy Jeff, Kwame, I mean, Joe Buttons, you know what I'm saying, Nods, Bink.
Wow.
A lot of people been blessed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of independent people coming up too, you know, the Nipsey Hussles, the Smoke Dizzes, you know, people like that'll make sense. It'll make sense in the future, in the next 2-3 years,
Right.
you'll understand who these people are. So,
A lot of people you're working hard with.
absolutely.
What's it like working with stars like that in the game?
You find out that they're people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you sort of, when you don't know a certain situation, you see somebody, or you see what they're accomplishing. It kind of holds a sense of nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you come into a setting like this, an intimate setting,
Right.
you know, when you only got a few feet in between a person, you start to realize that they have, habits and traits and they're people at the end of the day. And you either like that person or
Right.
you don't like that person.
Right.
It's like real life experience. You know what I mean?
Right. We're all artists trying to hone our crafts.
Absolutely, they are too. They may be on a different level. You know what I mean? But they're all artists.
But we're on our way there. We're definitely on our way there. Now, I bring you here, obviously, to speak about that and everything, but also a little bit of a selfish reason as well. I had the opportunity to work with you and your team most recently on my own project, C'est La Vie.
Absolutely.
Right.
Great project, by the way.
Great project. Well, I appreciate that. What I got to ask you, there we go. I'm there for you. What I got to ask you is, coming into this, I approached you, you being the man that you are, and I approached you with the idea of doing a spoken word monologue, the idea of taking, combining hip hop and film, essentially. What did you think when I first approached you with that idea?
When you first approached, if I remember correctly, it was a 3-part series.
Correct.
There was three stories, and this one for C'est La Vie was actually the one that jumped off the page the most.
Okay.
The first two, I think they had their tones and they had their purpose, but it's like even the way you wrote this one, which I didn't know the title of at the time.
Right.
Even the way you wrote this one, which was the third part, it jumped off the screen.
Wow.
It lended more visually than the other ones.
Okay.
And I don't know if this portion of the story was more personal to you, you know what I mean? But that's how it felt.
Right.
So, when I first read it, blown away.
Right.
We deal a lot with urban, with hip hop, things of that nature. So I'm always used to, shoot 'em up, bang, stuff like that.
Right.
Dealing with the urban culture. So to read that, it was a real emotion, and I feel like a lot of people have been through, can connect with,
Right.
you know what I mean? So it felt very real and tangible to me.
Well, that's definitely what's up. And on this project, you had an opportunity to work with our other homeboy, a new director, Rodney Jiggs Johnson.
Absolutely.
What'd you think of the job that he did out there?
Oh man, I mean from the beginning, like you wrote the story, and from what from in our talkings, I guess he put together the visual, like a visual of how each frame should be represented for each line of your story, and I was thoroughly impressed. Being a first time. For him being a first-time director,
Exactly.
somebody that has ambitions of doing this, he did more than people that I know do this for a living. You know what I'm saying? Like he took his vision a lot more seriously, and it was impressive. Like the way you guys wrote the story and wrote the storyboard treatment for it, it felt like, to me, it really felt like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Wow.
You know, that's what I just kept on equated to this, like, you know, this just has so many layers to it. You know, visually what you want to do it's just so comprehensive.
Right.
And then even on set, I mean, he knew what he wanted, but he knew that he was a first-time director.
Right.
You know, he just knew, I want this. How you guys make it happen is you know, I'm open for
absolutely
suggestion. And sometimes that's the difference between somebody who just, you know, it's my way or the highway,
right,
and the people who trust their team.
Right.
And I was impressed by that as well.
Right. So trusting your team, a lot of flexibility that he offered there. Shout outs to the boy Rajig. Shout outs to the boy Sam Rogers, the videographer on the project. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful job there. So working with us and the team, as you said there, it can't always be all good. What were the greatest challenges to this project?
I think the greatest challenges for me personally, because where I stepped in, I didn't want to step on Rodney's toes being the director. I didn't want to step on your toes being the person who wrote. You know, I wanted to make sure that we represented you guys' vision from the beginning.
Correct.
So I think my biggest challenge was getting everybody to see it from an editing standpoint.
Absolutely.
Because I knew I was going to be editing it, you know, so I knew I was going to be in my hands post-wise. Getting the shots. And there were certain times where I would say things about shots and I could feel the blank looks, you know, like, why are we doing this?
Right.
And it's like, just trust me, you know, just trust me. It looks stupid, it feels weird, but it makes sense when you edit. Because editing narrative is different than anything.
Absolutely.
You know, you have to have scene 1 and scene 2 have to have a point, a transition point that makes you understand that this is scene 1, this is scene 2, but it does it seamlessly.
Right.
You know, so there's and then the way you shoot, you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about, you know, a lot of people, until they do it, they don't understand. You don't just shoot everything at one time.
Exactly.
You shoot in chunks.
Wow.
So there has to be a liaison between these chunks that you shoot, and getting people to understand that was probably the biggest challenge.
Right.
You know.
Wow.
Other than that, I mean, that's not a bad challenge. That's just Rodney being a first-time director.
Absolutely.
And is this your first narrative project?
First narrative project, yeah. You know, we've done some other work, but the first one of this nature here.
So so I wouldn't consider it a challenge. It's just a learning curve.
And you absolutely did a great job putting it together. And as a matter of fact, I mean, sitting here listening to you, I mean, I feel like you should be putting this on film and selling it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like you're teaching cats the game and everything. So we won't have you expose all of your secrets. They got to pay you for that, right?
Gotta pay.
Speaking of which, what do you and Visually Inclined, what do you all have on the horizon? What's coming up next?
Well, I mean, we're constantly trying to break the mold with music videos. And I mean, want to, you know, break our personal goals. You know, we want to start expanding into things that are, you know, a little bit mentally challenged for people. You know, we still do our show Hip Hop Confessions, hiphopconfessions.com.
Wow.
You know, so we're going to constantly progress on episodes there, and I think more feature-length film work. You know, me, Sam, and me, Corey, we talk all the time about like wanting to do more visually. You know, getting into features and getting into documentaries is kind of why I got into it personally. So you can definitely expect more from that.
Wow.
For the future.
Wow, that's definitely what's up. We'll be on the horizon for that. You speak of Hip Hop Network, Hip Hop Confessions is what we got going there. Is there anywhere else where we can find your work? Where can we see more from you?
You can check us out, visuallyinclined.com. That's spelled, you know, visually inclined, INKLINED.com. Hip Hop Confessions, you can see our work, or, you know, if you blog, if you get on any of the hip hop blogs, you know, you'll start seeing our logos everywhere, man. And we're all over the place blogs-wise, but that's probably the three main
Absolutely. Well, definitely check out the main man, the boy Treasy right here. It's Chad. I definitely look forward to working with you in the future, and I thank you for this here present day.
Oh, man. I appreciate you having me, man.
We are ENT. Y'all make sure to get your umbrellas, baby.